What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Northstar has arrived in Marvel Contest of Champions. Let's talk about him. Let's talk about him a little bit. So, if you don't know who Northstar is, I don't blame you. I didn't know either until we read his kit. We were introduced to his bio and all that. He is a mutant speedster, from my understanding. I'm pretty sure that's the base line of what Northstar is. He's a mutant speedster. So you can see that his combos are extended. He has multi-hit combos, 3-hit mediums, and 2-hit light attacks. So from the get-go, you're going to notice that Northstar might not be for everybody, just based on playstyle alone. Now, Northstar is an interesting character in terms of design. From our understanding in the CCP, he's supposed to be a Everest-built character. And if you watch the deep dive, Mike showed off Northstar in Necropolis against the Hit Monkey, doing some pretty decent damage. But outside of that, Northstar is just okay. So this is a 7-star rank 2 unboosted Northstar with the 5-star Gambit relic. Going for the optimal loop here, which is throw a couple of special ones before you get to your special 2, and then throw a massive special 2 with all your reverb charges. That was 1 minute and 7 seconds for 550,000 health. Very decent, but I did get very lucky with my crits. One thing Northstar really needs for his damage to shine are critical hits. So the 7-star with the stat focus is very helpful because the critical hits are going to be showing up more often, and Northstar's critical damage will increase the reverb damage. So basically you want to build up a couple of prowess from your special 1, and then as you're doing that, the process of building reverb is happening naturally. You just have a 30 to 10% chance on your light attacks to trigger a reverb passive, and then when you throw your special attack, let me show you here. There's a icon that's grayed out right now. I'm pointing like you can see on my screen, but if you look right next to the prowess, there is a grayed out icon to the left of it. Those are the dormant reverb charges, and then when you throw a special 2, you trigger those reverbs into reverb passives. Now the whole idea is you want to kind of cycle between special 1s and special 2s, because the special 1 will apply a pause to your reverb charges, so you have way more uptime on the massive damage from the special 2 payout. So let's watch a 6-star rank 5 Ascended Northstar doing the same fight, same Gambit relic, same environment. You're going to notice it's significantly slower. Now, I think one of the main reasons for this is the lack of stat focus. Northstar really needs crits for his reverb damage to shine. Outside of critical hits, the reverb damage is very okay. That's even at his max ramp, which I'm going to show in a later clip. But I wanted to show off the 6-star rank 5 and the 7-star rank 2 for the sake of just fair comparison. You can see right next to the dormant reverb charges, there's this lightning icon. That's his super speed. You need to build that up over time, and then once it's ready and dormant, like the charge has fully expired from the beginning of the fight, when you cancel a special attack from your first medium, you trigger that super speed, and that gives you a bunch of bonus damage, less special cost, so your specials cost 25% less power, and it allows you to trigger those reverbs with more ability accuracy, and the special 1 prowess. It just, you want to be in super speed when you're throwing special attacks. That's kind of the whole idea. So you can see here that we're dealing okay damage. The 6-star rank 5 Ascended is dealing fine damage. I was very conflicted when I was initially testing Northstar if I wanted to potentially pick him up from the early access bundle, but I've come to the conclusion now that he really doesn't fill any needs in the game currently. So what I mean by that is, he's supposed to be an Everest character, right? Designed for Everest content. And while he's good once you fully ramp him up, not only is his ramp up pretty long, but I just don't see it being worth it compared to other Everest characters, even in the mutant class alone, like Strife and Onslaught. Let's focus on Strife for right now. Just comparing the two as Everest champions, once you ramp up Strife, that is for the entire quest. You don't have to worry about re-ramping. The only thing you need to do is throw your special 1 to get your shock, and start launching special 2s. Whereas Northstar needs a full ramp every single fight, and that's really painful. So I want to show you here. This is a max ramp. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. This is a max ramp Northstar Special 2 against the 9 million health Captain America boss in the CCP beta. This ramp took me about 4 minutes to get going, maybe a little less, but it's around 4 minutes. Unboosted, no synergies. This is just rank 2 7-star Northstar with the 5-star Gambit relic. And this damage to 9 million health it's okay. It's pretty decent. Those are some nice 60k numbers in total when you add up the reverb damage, and the special one after is pretty solid. That took him down 5% from 41 down to 36. So decent numbers when you're fully ramped up, but again, the ramp up takes so long, and I was even like getting hit to build my power faster to maximize the ramp. And the payoff it wasn't there for me. I'm really trying to like Northstar. I have been for a while. You can see these clips are about 10 days old. I just really can't. I'm not a big fan of him. I think he's fine. I think he'll be an okay general use character. He's got some decent utility with the passive slow on his special 1. The reverb damage being, I believe it's psychic, so it can't be reduced by physical or energy resistance. So that's another plus, but I feel he's almost too balanced. My friend B McG, him and I were talking about Northstar, and he said Northstar feels way too balanced, and I can't help but agree. I feel he needs a little more in the damage department once you're fully ramped up, or if not that, he needs more damage from the get-go, because he takes a lot to get going, and once you're finally up at that max ramp where you're maxed out on your traumas and you're maxed out on your prowess, he's hitting fine, but by the time you get to that ramp up, other characters are probably close to being done, like a Strife or a Kate or a Shuri, probably close to done with a health pool this size, whereas Northstar is finally at his ramp when Cap is around 60 to 50%, because I didn't just start this recording once I finished ramping. I had been getting a couple of special 2s to see if I could get some decent crit RNG, and you can see from the clip, I mean, the special 1 itself, decent with the numbers, 10,000 plus the 3,000, so 13 to 14,000 per special 1 crit. And then from the special 2, you know, the 17,000 hits from the actual contact and then nearly 50,000 reverb, that's great, that's awesome, but it takes a while to get there. So, not particularly a fan of Northstar in general. I think he's okay, like I said, I don't think he's bad. I think he's just perfectly balanced. And that might be how he stays, because I don't know if they're going to buff an Everest character. Because once you get him to that ramp, like I said, he is really decent, he's very easy to maintain, but that's not a relevant piece of content right now, is Everest content. For people who haven't done Necropolis, I don't even know if I would recommend Northstar if you get him. Now, if he's your only option, of course, desperate times, desperate measures, but there's plenty of other characters I would rather use in Everest content than Northstar. I would even use Star-Lord over Northstar, and that's not to take a dig at Northstar, that's just to show how good Star-Lord is and how well he's aged. These are Battlegrounds-esque health pools to end off the video here. Again, Cyclops, so no class advantage, and then Winter Soldier with class advantage. You really want class advantage with Northstar, especially in these shorter fights. But for the shorter fights in general, without class advantage, I like to go for 2 special 1s and then a special 2. That gives me around 15 or so of the reverb charges. I called them trauma earlier, but it's one and the same, really. It gives you a decent amount of the reverb charges to then throw a nice special 2 and get some decent numbers from your basic hits and the special hits. So that was 1 minute and 5 seconds for 270,000 health without class advantage. That's okay. That's a little better than what Arcade was doing with class advantage. So if that tells you anything about Arcade offensively, he needs some help. But this is a more ideal matchup for Northstar in terms of short form content. Class advantage, you get the armor break on your second medium, and that armor break actually reduces critical resistance by 80%. So for champions like Killmonger or any character that has increased critical resistance in the skill class, Northstar can apply that armor break and lower it substantially. So you're going to see here, the speed burst is ready. I call it super speed. I cancel into my special one. That's the only way you can activate the speed burst. And then once that's active, you get a bunch of bonus effects. Increased chance to trigger certain abilities on your special one and special two. Reduced power cost. The whole 9 yards. It's very nice. I just wish Northstar was a little better overall. But we're going for a special one, special two here. That's all I feel is necessary for skill opponents, because you can cycle right back to another special one and get the pause up for your reverb and your prowess. And if you get lucky with the crits, like I do here at the end of this fight, you can finish the opponent and not have to go for another special attack. So that was, I believe, just over a minute for class advantage. So Northstar's okay. He feels like a balanced character, but too balanced, you know? He needs a little more spice, in my opinion. I feel that he could be a lot more versatile if his ramp up was sped up. It's funny, the speedster characters in the game, they have not the quickest ramp ups in the game. It's kind of funny how it works like that. It's mostly due to the elongated combos, at least that's what I would think. But in comparison to the other speedster in our game, Quicksilver, Northstar is the inferior. Quicksilver runs laps around Northstar in every single way. Damage, utility, speed. Quicksilver really just needs to get to a special 2, and it's lights out for most opponents. Northstar requires some serious ramp up and a little bit of RNG for your reverb charges to activate them on the special 2 so you can get some decent burst damage. So overall, Northstar is an okay addition to the game. I wouldn't say he's bad by any stretch of the imagination, but for what he is designed for, he is not even close to being the best at, in my opinion. So, if you enjoyed this showcase of Northstar, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, hit the like and bell for notifications. It really helps me out, helps the channel out, and it's just really cool if you would do that. So, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.